Hi everybody. I'm going to invite Jade in a second to join me. We're going to chat to her about our hormones and how we can understand our cycles as well. Let me just grab Jade. She should be on soon. Please let us know if you are joining in, if you have any questions. Hi Jade.
Hi, how you going?
Good. Nice to
That's
meet you. Hi,
you
Sam.
too. Are you can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Yes.
Um,
Excellent.
I apologize if I look like I'm looking down. I am on my iPad today because my phone connection is just really bad.
No worries, that's totally okay. Thank
So,
you so much for having me.
yeah, it's a total pleasure. I was just letting everyone know who joins us. We will be chatting to you about our hormonal health and syncing our cycles and all things got to do with mindset, business, and hormones. So, if you would like to start and tell us what your business is about and how you got started.
Yes, so my name is Jade and I am the creator of the Beautiful Body Society. So it is basically a health, nutrition, fitness, mindset program and app and in-person studio, online studio, dedicated to help you understand your cycle, how to exercise, eat, and live in line with your cycle, basically. So it all kind of came about when I've been in the fitness industry for over 12 years now, and I never associated the mindset component. It was always just exercise and eat relatively healthy, or sometimes even exercise will kind of like outweigh some of the things you eat. And so I did have a lot of, I didn't have a very, well, I mean, my food wasn't the best if you sort of put it that way. And then when I was due to have wanted to get pregnant, I went to the doctor, was like, "Yep, I'm ready to prepare for a pregnancy." And she did a blood test, and everything was like deficient. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'm a personal trainer, I go to the gym, I do all these things.
Yeah.
But it just seemed to be that I was just in this depletion. So that appointment, she told me I was also pregnant. So I was kind of like, okay, what am I going to do now? So it was almost like I was kind of playing a little bit of catch up throughout my whole pregnancy. And I got pretty sick in regards to, I felt awful. I was fainting. I had a lot of growth issues. I had really low iron. I ended up with a heart condition. So it was just like all of these things like really exacerbated, I guess, a lot of stress in my life. Mentally, sorry,
Oh,
someone just tried to ring me. You okay?
oh, okay. I think it's back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Good. Sorry. Um, anyway, where was I? So, sorry about that. I
No,
hope
don't
you can
worry.
see that I'm live. No. Um, um, and yeah, so I ended up, just emotionally, I guess, kind of eating my way through the pregnancy. I put on 30 kilos during my pregnancy, and I was just felt like I just wasn't in a very good headspace. So, of course, post pregnancy, I was like, well, I've been a trainer for a long time and I know exactly what to do to lose weight. And I did all those things and I put on more weight and I just didn't understand. I had all these symptoms that were popping up and I'd never experienced these before. And I guess being um, pre baby, I had an implant on in, I was chopping and changing pills all the time. I had a little bit of underlying, I guess, hormonal imbalance, and that's why I ended up on the implant on. So I guess for those like 3 years leading up to pregnancy, I never had a period. I honestly didn't even experience any cyclical sort of hormonal changes. So entering out of the pregnancy, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Getting my period, emotional, like I actually had a lot of like skin things as well. I had a lot of skin rashes and just all of these symptoms that I just did not associate with my period. And I guess I just tried to lose weight and stressed my body out even more. And you know, now I know that that was the reason why the weight wasn't actually coming off. So I just started to really do some research about this. And I came into, I ended up being, I was working corporately before, and I ended up being made redundant for my corporate job. So I guess it gave me a permission basically to dive into some extra study. And I'd already been doing a bit of study and research just because I wanted to understand my own body and just find out what was going on. I started launching some little boot camps, and people ended up wanting to, like the women in the boot camps wanted to know more about their cycle and why they have this period wipeout, and then it takes them so long to recover. Then they have this one great week where they feel amazing, and then all of a sudden they're walking, trying to get back up the hill, ready for their period. So I started to establish sort of, I guess, a bit more of an understanding for my clients on how the body and the hormonal, the cycles and everything, how it sort of functions, and then try to manipulate things to work within their cycle. And I guess from there, now we have, you know, sync to cycle workouts. We have, you know, lots of pre and post period recipe books, and yeah, lots of amazing resources. We offer one-on-one coaching now to understand the cycle and your periods. And yeah, it's just kind of like, I guess, sort of grown from there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wish this kind of thing was taught in school, because I feel like all women, we go through this and we don't understand what's going on. I was diagnosed as well, like in my 20s with PCOS. I saw someone commented earlier and they had endometriosis. So it affects our business, it affects everything in your life. Yeah, and I also wasn't getting my period for years, and then I went off the pill and I was like, okay, what is this? My body is like up and down, and I've been suffering a lot from hormonal acne as well. So if you could let us know, like, what are some of the healthy foods that we should eat in, or maybe all the different cycles as well within our cycle? Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you know, like it's around the food, but also, you know, it's also the way your body reacts and responds to food as well. And nutrition, you know, we can eat to thrive or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then there can be sometimes a very fine line, and we have to make that decision every day and multiple times a day. So when we're talking about nutrition, I think and what's something that's very underutilized is the fats in the diet and getting enough of them, because we not for women, not having enough of the good healthy fats can manipulate and change I guess the way our hormones respond, and being heavily, I guess, in the industry and being in the industry for so long, I've seen a lot of trends that have come through, and you know, like there is still a lot of information about having low fat or having low calories, and because fat holds a lot of calories. So you know, I think instead of looking at it exactly as to what we should be eating at different times or what we shouldn't be, it's more about how can we actively make a really healthy decision at every single meal that we're eating. And I guess to support our body during these different phases, it's very easy, because I can imagine in the pre-period phase, we are kind of in these, like having these kind of like monster takeover attacks where you are just getting those cravings, and you just feel like you can't control them. And this can also be a representation as to how the stress is also coming through your cycle as well. So a couple of things that I really love to implement with our clients and with our program is, first and foremost, nourishment over, I wouldn't say like punishment. So I mean like always choosing an option that, for one, is like out of packaging, is natural and is something that our body is very bioavailable to our bodies. It's something our body can understand, it can recognize, it can break it down. It doesn't have all the additives, preservatives, you know, natural this, natural that. It's just something that our body can be like, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly how to utilize the nutrients, and I know exactly how to utilize the calories. So that can be really helpful.
So
Going into,
can you give us an example of some of those fat foods that
yeah, so
break
you
down
know,
easily?
yeah, there's obviously lots of, you know, healthy, there's avocados, nuts and seeds, you know, some of our, you know, coconut oil, butter, some animal fats, and just, you know, really utilizing, I mean, and it's also important that we are buying sustainably and also, you know, getting a good quality, um, product
Yeah.
from the farmer, I guess is another important factor, especially with your meat. You know, making sure that you know, meat is so natural, and if you look at the history of nutrition, it has been in our lives for a long time. But you know, making sure that we're eating animals that have seen the sun, that have been grass fed, and I think that also passes on another form of, you know, almost thanking the planet, the earth, you know, the world for the amazing food that we get to have, and making a real, making a bit of a ritual about it.
Yeah.
So what I'll do now is I'll just go through how the hormones slightly change, and then how your food preferences may change to
Okay.
help with the cravings and things like that. So I guess as we kind of enter that post-period phase, in the Beautiful Body Society, we talk about that phase from day 1 of your cycle. And then, so during your period, I guess your two female hormones, your progesterone and estrogen, at their lowest, and it can be a time where I like to sort of say to really rest and nourish. So it's almost like a bit of a holiday phase, and you're really focusing in refueling the body from the period that you're having, especially from your, like, the bleeding that you're having, and just really not coming in and tuning. I know it's so hard sometimes to be like, if you've got a busy work meeting, and I think this is quite relevant for businesses, and
Yeah.
especially for myself. I could not be a mum, run a busy business, you know, run a household, and do all of the things that I do, if I didn't put these things into my life. And right now I'm actually ovulating. So I'm halfway through my cycle, which means this is a great opportunity for me to talk like this and get on and do something scary. So during that period phase, it's all about re-nourishing the body. So you're going to be losing a lot of resources during your period. So how can you create some really healthy options to re-nourish the body? So, you know, high iron options that are really great to replenish those Bs as well that you might have lost with the bleeding. Then going into your post period phase, which is still, I guess, in the post period section. So like after your day 1 of your cycle, and then into about day 14, your estrogen starts to rise. Estrogen's pretty cool because it makes us less insulin resistant and less stress reactive. So the less insulin resistant means we can actually handle more carbohydrates. So our body can respond to them in a really easy way. It knows how to digest them quite well. And also being less stress reactive means, of course, and I'm going to relate this to business as well as, you know, to lifestyle, but you can almost, like, this is the go phase. So I get so excited after my period because I've just spent a week of re-nourishing my body, resting my body, preparing me for this next phase, which is my go phase. And that is basically exciting for me because I am such a hands-on, all or nothing type of person. So when I get to this phase, I have like, it's like jam-packed, it's full, and I try and get as much as I can in, because then I know as soon as I enter my pre-period phase, that changes again. So I sort of say, so you you might feel, you also will feel a little bit less hungry during this phase, and you also will feel less pain during this phase. So we say, like, up your weights, up your workout during this area. You're going to be less stress reactive. So trying to maybe book in the stressful things, especially having your own business, you can hopefully manipulate some of these things. I know sometimes you can't. So where you can't control the stress, working on the stress that you can control can really help with easing those pre-period symptoms. So during this phase, I guess it's kind of like, and I'm saying don't go and binge on the chocolate or anything like that, but you have more flexibility with your food, with your diet during this phase, because you can implement obviously lots of good healthy foods, but you can also you may not feel as hungry, and that can also help with some of the cravings. So I sort of definitely say during this phase you can be a little bit more flexible with your eating, and then heading into your ovulation phase, this is a phase from when we're meant to be getting busy making babies, so we do have that extra burst of energy. And we also it's sort of that last sort of push before our progesterone comes in, and our hormones change again. So as soon as you ovulate, and I guess on average it's around that 2-week mark, but it can change for all, every different woman probably does it differently. So this is just based on the average cycle. Then you kind of have that drop off, and some women feel that. Some women are very in tune and they can go, yep, I've ovulated, and that drop is happening. You can also sometimes feel a little bit nauseous around ovulation as well, which can definitely be something that it is quite common, but it can be quite frustrating because you are sort of in your go phase, and all of a sudden you're having this like bit of this sort of sicky sort of feeling as well. But then once that progesterone hits, now progesterone is pretty cool. It does make us like more stress reactive. So when we try to have, we might have a stressful situation happen pre-period, and we probably respond to it so differently versus if that situation was to happen post-period. We may be more unstable in our emotions and just feel more vulnerable, more emotional, and that is that progesterone coming peaking at that second half of our cycle, and almost preparing our body for pregnancy. So it is a beautiful hormone, but I think because it's looked at during that second half, we tend to get very nervous about heading into that second half of our cycle, because the energy levels sort of start to dip. It does make us more insulin resistant. So really making sure that you're conscious of the carbohydrates that you're eating during that time. So really focusing on maybe smaller meals more often, and you may really focus on increasing your protein and your fats to help stabilize the blood sugar in those times, and then implementing some really good quality carbohydrates that will help to stabilize the blood sugar, so you're getting that little bit of sweetness, but then it's not sending your cravings sky high, and then you're having that really big sugar crash. And I know pre-period, a lot of people do crave the chocolate. In our program, we give lots of alternatives, like healthy options to have instead of, that are made with some really good quality carbohydrates, and they're high protein. They've got some really good healthy fats in there. So you're stabilizing the blood sugar, and you're getting still that sort of like sweet hit, but it's not going to cause the cravings. So, and business wise, I find this is a time where you may want to be more in front of your computer, doing the things that you can sort of like tune in. Maybe you need to fine tune your website. Maybe you need to create some new offers, but kind of like behind the scenes work, that creativity sort of work where, whereas when you then get to your first half of your cycle, you can then explain what you're doing and get excited about it, if, that kind of makes sense. Interesting enough, during this next phase, during that second phase of your cycle, your body temperature rises slightly. So you have this, like your metabolism is actually a little bit faster. And because you're more stress reactive, we try to tune into changing up your exercise. So phase one, you're kind of going harder, you're going heavier. Phase two, we like to focus on that more endurance-based work. So lower impact, lower weights. We offer lots of different style of workouts. So we've got like Pilates based, we've got our HIIT style, we've got our weights. And then when you do those workouts, it's explained how to manipulate that depending on where you are in your cycle. So all of those controlled stresses can be very useful for when you're in this phase. So you're not having that overreactive stress response, which also can then cause a reaction in your insulin and sugar response, causing more cravings. So I think it's very detrimental that during this second half, we're kind of like going in, doing like de-stressing the body and focusing on those nurturing times. And then of course, after that, you're going straight back into your cycle again, into your period again.
Geez, there was so much information. I was actually taking notes. I was like, I know I can rewatch this, but I'm taking notes anyway.
It can be so much. And I mean, it's taken me a long time to unravel this information and put it into a really simple, easy form for people to like understand. And especially like I have women that don't even know where they are in their cycle, and I'm like, and there's the number one question, I'm like, where are you in your cycle? Like I just ask everybody that, and I'll have, once the women come in to class or they start to run our online program, they really, like, I get messages like, I can't believe how different I am in that pre-period phase. Like I'd always get down on myself or feel guilty because I wasn't ever doing good enough, but it actually has nothing to do with that. It's all about that phase that we're in and just honoring and respecting our bodies.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So for the last like 2 years, I've been tracking my cycle just with an app. You get so many apps you can download on your phone, and it's just been really interesting to know like exactly how like the ovulation phase, like you feel different.
Yeah.
At the moment now my hormones are up and down because I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
But
Congratulations.
yeah, I can't wait for next year to like start working on my hormones and seeing where I am in the cycle and actually eating accordingly and working in my business accordingly. Because I find like, especially starting out in business, I haven't even been in business for a year. You just go. You don't even like stop.
Yeah.
I don't have a structure to say, okay, this is when I should be creating. So it will be really interesting next year to figure all of that out.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely a big thing for me about 6 months ago. I was talking so much about this, yet there was a lot of different aspects in my own life, and especially having like a new business, it was something that I was finding I was kind of getting very overwhelmed with. And so I really had to like zoom out and take a bird's eye view of all of the things that I was doing and just start to rearrange things. So I was actually, and obviously exercise is something that we do and I love doing, but it was something else that I really had to start to go, okay, how am I honoring my body when I'm giving so much and teaching so much? So I've, I guess restructured some of the classes, and the girls know, like, as I said, I'm ovulating this week. So I have been like, get on it, like, and then I have to sort of wheel it back in and be like, okay, I'm excited, but you might be during your period, so you can just do this instead. And then they know when I'm on my period because I am just like, stand there. And I'm like, I'm not doing it today, guys. It's all up to you. Or, we have different rest periods and different sets and stuff that the girls know to just, do that rest period or do that set differently to implement that into where they are in their cycle. And I think, as you said, like for me, when I was really starting to look into this, there was so many different resources, but it was always like, do this activity at this time and do this mindset at this time. So I guess I've tried to bring that all in and create a program that's super simple. We also have journals now as well. So they go through, they talk about the stress, but we're very big on symptom tracking, and we run through, you know, where you are in your cycle, and
Really?
really, yeah, starting to understand that. So you can look back, and we've got like a monthly report card, and we really feel that that report card is your answer to what basically went on during your cycle, you know, and even understanding what your blood is doing when you're bleeding during your period as well, because it can be very insightful. And you know, our bodies are constantly sending us these beautiful little whispers, but we in this busy society that we're in now, we tend to just ignore them. And I think when we can really tune into what our body's telling us and really focus on the symptoms that are happening, we can actually start to, you know, really decipher what our body, what the whispers are saying.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important to start tracking your cycle. For me, I had very long cycles, and then sometimes it would be really short, so it was up and down, like, yeah. So I think definitely having a program that you can adapt to your own lifestyle and your own cycle is so important. Yeah, so do you do just online and in person? Is
Yeah.
it like a kind of a course where I can just join by myself whenever I'm available, or do you actually have times that you do your classes?
We kind of have everything.
Oh, cool.
So we have the in-person studio and online. So all of our memberships include the app and the online component. So we've got an app. We also have a really great dashboard within the website that the dashboard has a really great search engine. So you can like search where you are in your cycle, and all the workouts will sort of come up. But we also have on the other side of that a whole heap of cycle resources. So, you know, you can just basically like find where you are. Obviously, you're tracking your cycle, find where you are. And then we've got an information, like an info sheet basically, which gives you that small rundown, and it gives you an idea as to what to do when, and looks into not just your exercise and your food, but your mindset, because stress is, you know, a massive, massive factor when we're also looking at our hormones, and you know, there's not just the female hormones, there is so many more. So we have an online only membership, which is basically the app. And if you don't live in the area, we're based in Golden Grove, but we do have in the future some exciting things popping up, and some other locations coming. So I won't say too much more because it's still like in the finalizing stages. But
That's
yeah,
like
I guess,
new exciting things coming.
yes, yeah.
That's
So I
so
guess
cool.
it's watch this space, because we do have some things happening. So if you don't live near us and you do want to attend the classes, then yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Cool.
But yeah, of course, we have everything online. Everything is also live streamed. So I live stream every single class that we do. Being that I was a new mum when I was trying to understand what the hell was going on with my body, I
Yeah.
knew that there were days where I couldn't get to the gym because I was not leaving the house with this screaming baby. So I had like 100 different memberships to gyms and to online things. And so I've kind of tried to really like create it all in one. So if you feel like you can't leave the house, you can live stream the class, or you can just do it at home at, you know, 3 p.m. in the afternoon when baby's sleeping, or whatever's right for you. So we give lots of options.
And
We
I
also,
a postpartum like workout routine.
yep.
When you start that?
So we have the postpartum, and we also like to our beginners to also use that as well. I like to say it really depends on how your pregnancy and birth went. But if you have post C-section, you may need a little bit longer time to recover. But you can start at about 6 weeks post baby, as long as everything sort of is okay. Obviously, you know, that's something that you have to decide with your doctor. But that is a 6-week program. And then after that 6-week program, we sort of say you kind of can go on to doing the regular workouts. But as I said, like we're not just about thrashing the body. We're about nourishing, caring for your body first and foremost. And the other thing we also offer is the one-on-one coaching. So we actually fine tune that for everyone's bio individuality, and we do biochemistry and physiology testing, so you can start to understand the different fluids in the body and what they're doing, and I guess like a deeper insight as to what your body is telling you and what your body is saying. And that's a 12-week program. So that's working with myself and my co-coach Marley for one session a week for 12 weeks, but it includes all of our app and in-person studio as well. So it doesn't, you get a lot for that. Next year, though, we are also launching a group program, which will be more about, it'll be obviously around the cycle, but it's also going to be around the mindset as to how your body's changing over the monthly cycle, and then how you can implement things. And, like, I guess at the end of the day, we all kind of know exactly what to do. We all know there's healthy options and there's not so healthy options, but
Yeah.
I think the psychology behind is, why are we not doing this? And I think sometimes when our hormones are out of whack, and what I found for myself, you do lack motivation, you do crave the sugar, you do feel tired, you can't get up in the morning, or you just, your willpower is not there. So really going behind the scenes as to what's actually happening on that deeper level, and then bringing that forward to be able to like untangle all of these different things and really start to honor, respect your body. So yeah, we do have a group which is a little bit less expensive to our one-on-one program, that we will kind of be that medium offer for clients to come in and work with us, but in a group setting as well. So yeah, so a lot happening next year. But in saying that, I guess the app is free to download. You can download it and have a look around. And obviously then it will sort of prompt you if you wanted to try any of the videos and stuff to try our 7-day trial, or to do, to basically try a membership out. There's no lock-ins or anything either as well. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have a lot on offer, so that's great. I think anyone can actually find something that they're looking for. So tell everybody how they can find you online, how they can connect, if they need to contact you for any information.
Yeah, so this is my personal Instagram. So obviously it's, I guess, very business focused. So you can message me on here, Jade_Lorraine. Otherwise, my business page is just at Beautiful Bodies Society. So no spaces or anything, just the one word. You can also, of course, head to our website, which is www.bbwithjade.com. But the other easiest thing to do is to just go to your App Store or your Google Play Store, download Beautiful Body Society app, and you can just start to take a look around. And we also have a private Facebook group, which is having a little bit of a rejig next year. We have a mini course in there and a 30-day free self-love challenge. So we've got heaps of freebies and resources in there as well, which might be a good way for you to just get that starting out sort of point, because it can be a lot of information, and having a 30-minute chat is just not big enough.
But you've given us so much information already. It's amazing. And I'm sure whoever rewatches this will go jump on your page and download your app. So thanks so much for everything that you've taught us today. I can't wait to get more into my cycle next year and see how that goes.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and I hope all your followers got some good info, and especially really implementing this into your business, because it was a big game changer for me. And so enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I hope to chat with you soon.
Yeah, we will. Thank you so much. See you.
Bye.